ask me to do these things and I get them done, right? And then there's still like something else. And I'm like, wait a minute, now you need me to do something else? Like, it's already 7 o'clock. I get frustrated because she's like, you know,
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. We're talking to you guys today. We're dealing with whether am I emasculating my man, or is my man not assertive enough? If you've watched the show Couples Retreat, then you know about Raymond and Deelish, and you know that obviously Raymond and Deelish at the moment, they're having problems having sex, and there's a larger issue that is at play, I believe, is working behind Raymond, that is contributing towards the lower libido, or the lower ability to want to have sex with his wife. And we're going to break down a few of those things and kind of coach it in those moments. If you're a lady, please tune in. If you're a man, also tune in, because some great tips I'm going to release in this next few minutes for you guys going forward. But before we go any further, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you got the minerals, you got the minerals. Listen, stay hydrated, because the streets are hot. The streets are what? They're hot. Let's get into the video. Okay, so I want to just kind of play a clip here for you guys and get the conversation flowing to make us understand what is happening. I'm going to go a little bit back and let's go.
Sometimes a man's libido can wane when he's got pressure.
Yeah.
Whether they're financial, whether they're life, whether they're kids, you know. So I just wanted to kind of dig a little deeper.
Now, Raymond is obviously suffering at the moment with a lower libido, seemingly with his partner. When it started off, it was amazing. It was hot sex. It was lovely. It was juicy. It was popping, okay? It was all there for Deelish. What is really interesting is that I remember an episode back before where Deelish explained what happened when she saw him. They went into they were in a clothing shop or whatever, and they had hot, steamy sex in the place. Now, here's the thing. Deelish is naturally somebody who enjoys sex, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that at all. She's obviously got a higher libido in comparison with his libido, okay? But what was really interesting about that story is how how after that moment where she initiated sex the first time, it's from what I can remember anyway. It might not be the first time, so don't quote me too tough. It's what happened after, obviously, then they, you know, kind of started dating, going after each other, etc., right? When she put it on him. But the trouble is that once, if I'm correct in my premise, if she did put it on him the first time, that creates the illusion that you are the driver in this relationship. Okay? I've always said this to ladies. There's nothing wrong with taking initiative, but allow the man to drive the particular initiative that you have. Bring it to him and let him drive it forward. When you drive it forward, there is a chance, a much bigger chance, that he actually isn't as invested as you are. In this case, he's definitely invested. He definitely loves her, definitely cares for her. But what she did was put down a marker that said, I'm going to lead. The whole argument she has is, I don't want to be an alpha female. But whenever I see them interacting, she's trying to lead. Right? And so my question here today is, you're complaining about your man? A lot of ladies are going to watch this video and understand what I'm talking about. A lot of you here, if you're watching this, I want to coach this to you. Are you sure that your man is not being assertive enough? Or have you shut him down from being assertive? Have you killed the platform to allow him to be assertive? Have you jumped the gun and been assertive and then complained, hey, why are you not helping me? Why are you not leading it, when you are trying to lead in the first place? Right? You can't get into the driver's seat and then complain about the person in the passenger seat not driving and falling asleep when you decided to get in the front seat. Okay? So let's break down some real things here. You know, and let's go forward with Raymond a little bit as well. Okay? I want to just break down some of his things that's happening with him. Okay, let's play a little bit clip.
And I get them done, right? And then there's still like something else. And I'm like, wait a minute, now you need me to do something else? Like, it's already 7 o'clock. I get frustrated because she's like...
Now we pause it there. Here's the thing. Number one point I'm going to make here. Loss of sexual appetite because of pressure to perform. And I'm not talking about actual sex now. The pressure to perform is the pressure to perform to her standard. Now, what you might not have played in there is where he spoke about her OCD and the fact that he's always having to, and this is later on going to happen, he speaks about obviously her OCD and having to always move stuff and do this and do that in order to get somewhere, right? But what he's describing here isn't necessarily a pressure to perform in sex, but a pressure to perform in general to her standard. She sets the standard, and because he's fearful of that standard, there's a feeling of inadequacy, or there's a feeling of intimidation, or a feeling of that I can't make that standard, or I'll get there, it just won't be at your pace. And that in itself creates a little bit of apprehension and fear, right? So if she's setting the standard and the pace, and he feels like he's not able to match that and go beyond, what can happen is that now the energy that he has to go forth and prosper and be leading as she wants him to do isn't there. Because she set the final score. If you set the final score in your relationship, ladies, you are not going to get the man to go beyond that unless he's naturally a competitive type of man. Excuse my cold. Okay? Unless he's a kind of guy that goes, you know what? I like that challenge, you know. I'm gonna do it. There's not every man has that spirit that wants to challenge things that way. All right? So you have to know what kind of man that you have. Right? So the fact that she sets that pace, unfortunately, he is not the type to naturally dominate and challenge it straight away and go, I'm gonna beat you right now. He's the kind of guy that's gonna go, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna see how it's going, I'm gonna try and meet this standard that you set, right? All right, let's watch a little bit more.
Like, you know, we need this couch, we need this bed for the house, and I'm like, okay, let's get it. And so she gets it, we sit it in, it looks great. 2 days later, it's rearranged. 3 days later, it's moved out. And
now, what he's explaining here, it may seem like, oh, he's just going around the mill. He's actually not. When I listened to it a couple of times, I realized what he's actually saying here. This goes back to my first point. The pressure to perform. And the pressure to perform is to her standard, because what she's done is set the bar. So when he's talking about, oh, her OCD, she wants to move things around, what he's saying is, look, I don't set the pace. Okay, which is actually my second point, which is actually, he don't set the pace, because when she starts to move everything around, she's in control. She sets everything to her tone. When she says, hey, I don't like that, change it. You go, okay, I'll change it, which is partly his fault and partly her fault, right? She's an assertive person, controlling person. And he too, and when I say controlling, so I shouldn't say controlling because it's got a negative aspect. She's a naturally assertive person with a dominant kind of personality and spirit, right? And with him, he's not a soft person per se. I wouldn't say, oh, he's pliable or anything like that. What I would say is that he's amenable. He's willing to agree. He hasn't got the that's why she was early. If you see watch later on, she's also like, I want a man to do in later episodes, I want right? And what she actually doesn't realize is when you want a man that goes you need to be and you're not giving me but you want them to go how are you gonna have him to do that? Right? Are you sure that he's not being assertive, or are you now being too assertive and sitting in the front seat and not allowing him to lead the charge, right? If you're gonna ask him to lead, sit down. Relax. Go to the passenger seat. If you want that, go to the passenger seat and be comfortable sitting in the passenger seat and not going as fast as you want. This is one of the issues that I find with women that are very dominant in their spirit and very assertive, right? The problem isn't necessarily their assertive and dominance, because you know what? At your workplace, it's fine. It works. It's what you have to do. When you come home, you've got to learn how to be okay with the pace he is willing to settle for. The problem here also, like I said, he's not as dominant as you want him to be, but are you sure you're not trying to go at a pace he's not ready for? Right? So you may want him to do this ASAP Rocky now. And he's saying, listen, I don't want to do it now. I can't do it now. I need it to be done at a time I want it to be done. So let me lead. Right? But no, you don't want that. You want it to be done when you want it to be done. But at the same time, he has to learn how to set good boundaries. If I'm telling you, hey, it's not happening right now. It's not happening right now. I've said that it's going to be done when I want it to get done. Back off. Now, you might not say it to your partner because that's really rude. But you might say, listen, babe, relax. I'm going to do it. Let me handle it in my time. Don't try to push me doing it in my time. I'm going to do it in my time. And I'm serious about that. Don't do that. Right? And it's important to set that kind of boundary and let the person know your emotional boundaries and let the person know your time boundaries and your physical boundaries. These are all aspects of being assertive. Okay? And letting people know. Okay? He's not the pace setter of his relationship. That video just proves it. Let's play a little bit more.
Then else has moved in.
But I'm still not hearing where that interrupts the sexual relationship.
I had to learn.
Now I want to pause it here, okay? I want to pause it here, and I'm going to probably go to my next. I'm going to jump to my point ahead of time. I kind of jumped ahead of myself in the sense of him talking about learning. So it's point 5, but I'll come back to the other points. Don't worry. So in this particular point, he's talking about the process of learning, okay? And I want you to be very, very conscious and listen to what he's going to say very, very carefully. He's speaking something right now. When he talks about this process of learning, you have to understand something, how people's minds work. Some people's mind work differently, right? So when he talks about the process of learning, I personally as a coach was hearing, there may be some insecurity there, right? And the insecurity is this: when I don't know, let me not even say insecurity, there's a slowness to move when I don't know. Right? Because later on he's going to say, when you tell me about flowers, I learn about flowers, right? If you want flowers, you let me know you want flowers and let me know how often I'm going to do it. So he's a person that he likes consistency. If you say you want it this way, I'm ready to do it this way. He's got more rigidness when it comes to spontaneity. Right? Now, I don't know if that's to do with the fact that he's been to prison, unfairly, unjustly at the time, and that routine is stuck in him, or if that happened before the prison time. Right? Because some people really are just routine. They like X, Y, Z, and it keeps them safe. Other people like more spontaneity. Like for me, I like more spontaneity, right? But there's a problem. I'm not as structured. Other people like structure and not as spontaneous. Some people are good. They find a good balance. We've all got our hooks and our crooks, right? But what he's explaining here about this, we're going to play a little bit more of the clip and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Process.
It's a process. And I think that sometimes that might frustrate her with, sex. Because when you say, you're the man in this house.
Pause. Okay, I know it's gone a bit farther. I want to come back to that point about the man in the house situation. But what he just said there, it could frustrate her. This is why I was talking about the pace setting, ladies. Are you sure you're not frustrated by the fact that he's not leading? Or you're sure that Are you frustrated by the fact that he's not leading? Or are you frustrated with the fact that when he does lead, it's not at your pace? Because remember, how you do things at your pace, because you know how to do things, bam, 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 bam. You may have a more dominant spirit. When he's doing it at a pace, it's frustrating for you because you know it can be done quicker, right? But you've got to work with that leadership that you got in front of you, right? Don't usurp it. Don't jump ahead. Give him the chance to lead it. He will get quicker and faster. The more you do something, the more faster you're going to get. Give him the chance to lead it. Encourage him, right? Push him gently. Do you know what I'm saying? To get into that space, because he's not like he's shying away from it. I think what's happened is her pace is causing him to say, do you know what? I'm just going to support you. Because the pace you're going at, I can't go at that pace. I'm just going to support you. I want to make this relationship work, right? But she wants a man to take the charge. Sis, they need to back up. The speed you're going at, he can't go at. Relax. So I think when he talks about the process of learning, he wants to learn the ways in which she works, and then he can get it right. There may be a perfectionist spirit there where he wants to get things perfect, and so he wants to lessen the chance of getting things wrong, right? Because when he gets things wrong, it may feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, right? That's why I said it might be insecurity there, all right? He also mentioned about wanting this patience that he's learning, okay? When you rush somebody who wants patience, that is a turn-off, ladies, okay? And that's going to make him also recline in his shell even more, because he's a person, obviously, who's methodical and wants to think about decisions before he makes them. Classic introverted person, right? He's probably got some extroverted qualities, but classic introvert who doesn't want to be rushed in their decision making. They want to make sure they consider every angle before they make moves. Those are, I think, like a color personalities. Oftentimes, I think they're blues. I think it's blues. It might be blues. Who often are analytical thinkers. If you're a deep blue, if you're in the corner of the blue, the far left corner of the blue, or the far right corner, in the corner, away from all the other colors, then you're very analytical when it comes to what you think. And when you think like that, you consider different options and you want to make sure you've made the right choice. So you ask the why question. Oh, that's it. This guy's a why question kind of guy. He needs to know the mechanics and the things behind it and understand it before he makes a move. Once he understands the why and the how no to do something, then he's going to take charge of it, right? But you got to give him that space. You got to give him that space to do that. Let him work it out. Give him that time to work it out. Give him that time to work it out. Encourage him and give him that time to work it out. And you also focus on your femininity, right? You want him to take the charge. Relax. Let him take charge of it. Gentle reminders. Right? Let me come back. I want to come back a little bit.
Interrupts the sexual relationship.
I had to learn.
It's a process.
It's a process. And I think that sometimes that might frustrate her with,
So, and here's the thing. I've missed my point for I'm going to miss it. His frustration is from being emasculated. Okay? Now, not every man has got a dominant spirit straight away. You don't see... Some men, when you see them, they're dominant. Other men, they're quiet. They got a quiet dominance. And when I say dominance, I don't want to mean like dominating an individual person. I want to say they got a quiet, assertive leadership skill, right? It's not as evident. It's not so prominent. It's not so large. It's not so out there. Okay? It's not so flamboyant. Okay? It's a quietness, a stillness in that leadership aspect, right? And what he needs is a little more help. Just a little bit more help, but he's feeling a little frustration, and the frustration really comes from the emasculation. The emasculation is in the words you choose to use. Okay? The emasculation is in the words that is chosen to be used. I'm gonna come there in a second.
Sex, because when you say you're the man in this house, step up. I'm trying to do everything.
That is it right there. You the man in this house, step up. That in itself is going to become the emasculation. I'm going to tell you why. Because what you're doing is you're questioning his masculinity. And you're questioning his manhood. You're questioning him as a man. That is not going to work for somebody who's not competitive like that. And even if someone is competitive like that, it can actually backfire a lot of times. Right? Because there can be an overshoot of what masculinity is or what my manhood is from the man. Right? Let me just put on it. What you must understand is saying, oh, you're the man up. Oh, listen, we're talking about toxic masculinity. And we talk about how when kids are small and when they hurt their knee or something, you say, don't cry, be a man up. That is the same language we're using right now. Be a man up in this moment, right? That is the emasculation that's going to be happening. So if that's what he's feeling as energy or what she's said or what she's showing in behavior towards him, that is the emasculation that's going to cause him not to respond positively. Now, I really think his sexual libido is probably low already. I don't think that's necessarily all to do with the fact that this particular case is happening. But we're taking it as we're talking about leadership now, not necessarily the sex issue, right? So his feelings of frustration are really from the emasculation. That's what it really is, right?
Everything that my wife wants. Deelish is an alpha female, and she knows what she wants, even.
Sorry, he just mentioned here that Deelish is an alpha female, right? And Deelish is someone who, just handles the business, right? She does whatever she wants to do, right? She's assertive. She knows how to get things done. She executes, right? And I want to say this comment, it's number 7. Her assurity makes him unsure. And the reason why her assurity makes him unsure is because she's quicker to the assuredness than he is. It's not that he can't be sure. It takes longer for him to be sure. And due to the fact that he's not been given that time and patience to get to that point, it creates an insecurity. Because now I'm trying to make things work with you, and because you're so quick to being sure, when I'm taking my time, you're looking at it as I'm not being a man. Now this is twofold, because one, it could be his own insecurity, and this could be him projecting onto her, and 2, this could be how she actually feels towards him. We're not sure until we get more information from her, so I don't want to make that decisive judgment. What I want to say is that her assurity makes him unsure because he takes much longer to get to that point, right? So when he takes longer to get to that point now, that creates a problem. Okay? Her being sure is not a problem. We celebrate that. We love it. We like it. I'm not even blaming her for that. She's sure because she's confident. What I'm saying is that in his response or review or how he receives it, is that it may be that when she's so sure, it makes him feel unsure because he has not made up his mind to that point, to that degree, at that speed. Again, it comes back to that, am I good enough question again. Okay? Right? Let's play a little bit more.
When it comes to sex. And so at the end of the day, it's just finding the common.
Let me just go back a little bit. Let's go back. Oh, sorry. I want to go back a little bit.
And she knows.
I don't want to. Sorry, we're going to work out. Well, I want to bring it back to this point where he mentioned the fact that she's an alpha female. She knows what she wants, even in sex. And there is where the issue, the sexual issue, potentially is coming from. Okay? Remember the very first point we made was that the performance isn't about the bedroom performance necessarily. It's about what's her standard. Because she's pace setted in the relationship. And that's his fault. And that's her fault. Okay? She's got that dominant spirit. That's partly her fault too. And not when I say, not the dominant spirit's her fault too. Her leading the charge in a relationship and not giving him time is her fault. And when I say fault, it's not necessarily it's bad or you're wronging for that. No, what we're trying to say is, that's the part that can be changed. It can be reviewed. The part he needs to review and change is also that he needs to set good boundaries and actually let her know, hey, this is not my pace. If you want me to lead, step back and let me lead. And let me lead the pace. And when she starts putting her hand on the steering and say, hey, take your hands on the steering wheel. You're trying to lead again. Let me do what I'm doing. I don't want you interrupting me. Right? It's very important to let people know. You have to let people know your personal space, your personal boundaries. Let them know, okay? So, you know, for let's listen to it a bit again and we'll see what it's saying.
What she wants, even when it comes to sex. And so at the end of the day, it's just finding the common ground.
What was it there? So she's an alpha female. She even knows what she wants. And she even knows what she wants even in sex. So now the standard in sex necessarily isn't about just sex. It's about the fact that in his head, the cogs may be turning. She's got another. I'm gonna leave it there, guys. If you like what we're doing, what we're talking about, listen, like, share, subscribe to this video. But I want to make sure as well, if you're having similar problems in your relationship, shout me. Okay, this is the kind of stuff I do on a regular basis. Bring you and your partner. I'm not gonna take your side or take his side. I just want to make sure we're getting to the crux and solving that issue and that problem within your relationship. Hit us up on the email, let us know, and we'll book you in for a session. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notifications of the uploads, baby. We appreciate you. Stay hydrated because the streets are